This is insane. One NHL Insider has dropped a crazy Calgary Flames trade report, and it's probably not at all what you think it is. Are the Flames going after a backup goalie? No. A young center to fill the biggest position of need? No. The Flames are reportedly going after a different position of need. We're going to get into all that and more in this video, but first I want to welcome you to Flames Digest. I'm Mark Griffith. If you're new around here and you love the Flames, make sure you subscribe so you can stay up to date on all the latest news, updates, reports, and rumors revolving around your Calgary Flames. We would love to welcome you to the Flames Digest family. Let's start with this little trade report here, and I gotta be honest, I was a little bit flabbergasted when I saw it, because like I said in the intro, when we hear trade rumors, it's Rasmus Andersson is on the way out. Oh, the Flames are interested in getting a backup goalie. Oh, maybe the Flames are going to go for a young right shot center. Man, how many times have we heard that in the last 12 months or so? But no, this is actually something different, and I don't know how I feel about it, but let's hop in. So, Anthony DeMarco, he is the man who came out with this tweet. So he said, sounds like the Flames are looking for a young left shot defenseman with size. So that is what is key here. Young left shot D-man with size. 4 things to pinpoint there. So they have too many bodies on one-way deals on defense and want to move some out. Bean and Miramanov being 2, I'm told. So it sounds like Bean and Miro could be on the way out with this logjam. So Philadelphia Zamula, who played junior in Calgary with the Hitmen in the WHL, I've heard Calgary likes. And to be honest, we'll get into Zamula a little bit later in this video, but to me it seems like the only reason the Flames would be interested is genuinely just because he's played in Calgary before with the Hitmen. But I guess another key thing here is maybe Bean and Miro could be on the way out, which I don't think any Flames fans really have a problem with. Now, it wasn't just DeMarco saying this, as Wes Gilbertson also said the Flames are indeed looking for a left shot defenseman. That search has been ongoing for 2+ years, but they don't need depth defensemen. They're targeting somebody capable of top 4. Maybe they see that upside in Zamula, but he's only averaged about 16 minutes per game in the NHL. And if that's a name that you don't recognize, don't be too shocked. I know the Flyers, they haven't been, I guess, the most relevant team lately. I mean, more relevant than the Flames for sure. But, if you're unfamiliar with him, again, I don't blame you. Now, there's some great reactions from certain people around the internet, and this is straight from DeMarco's tweet here. So one person says, how exactly does too many bodies on one-way deals on defense and interest in Zamula possibly square? You're just adding another one, essentially. So DeMarco says they want to unload one of the guys they have in addition to adding someone. That still just balances, a negative and a positive, and there you go. You're at neutral, but either way, it's interesting. Maybe you move out more than one for this logjam. Another person, a couple Flyers fans actually had good sense of humor. So one person says, fine, I'll take Morgan Frost for Zamula. Another person says, Zamula for Farabee makes sense, LOL. I think Flyers fans miss those guys, and you can understand why. They seem like great guys. But the key reply here, I'd say, is from this guy. And he says, it's almost like we had Ilya Solovyov and gave him away for free. That, to me, is the key in this entire equation right here. We had that. We had Solo, put him on waivers, and of course he got claimed. The exact same thing happened last year at a different position of need when the Flames put Cole Schwindt on waivers and he got picked up by Vegas. And then all year we heard about how the Flames want to acquire a young right shot center when you'd just given him up. Now, you want a left shot D-man who's younger with size. We had Solo. And I know he's not the biggest guy, but he has size. And I guess not the youngest either, but still very young. So to me, that's what's the most interesting here. Now, at Ring of Fire on Calgary kind of put it really well. So they said the fact Craig Conroy is looking for a left-handed defenseman shouldn't come as a surprise. The Flames were interested in K-Andre Miller and Bowen Byram in the offseason, but weren't able to make a deal for either of them. So the search continues as we now hear about Zamula from Philly and maybe others. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Flames aren't linked again to both Miller and Byram at some point. I know they have different deals now, but still, it's an interesting situation. He doubled down by saying, I don't think the Flames are in a position right now to be giving up future assets to bring in help now, even if it is a young player. That is a trade they should make when they are ready to legitimately contend, not when they are in last and tracking to finish in the bottom 5. And that's such a realistic way to look at this, of course. The Flames probably shouldn't be trading away future assets in order to be better, especially when you're sitting at bottom of the league. It doesn't make too much sense because it wouldn't be, Miramanov for Zamula or Bean for Zamula, which seems I guess, honestly, kind of like a fair trade, but I just think since Zamula obviously is quite a bit younger that maybe you could go in that direction. But again, like I said, if you don't know too much about Mr. Yegor Zamula, here's Zamula, I honestly don't know how to pronounce it. He, as we know, is a left shot defenseman. He is Russian. He is 25 years old, will turn 26 in March, and he's a little bit bigger, 6'3", weighs 200 pounds, so a bigger guy that you could be interested in. Now, in terms of his stats, like I said, if you look up at the blue part, his junior career, he did play quite a lot of games with the Calgary Hitmen and was great. Points-wise, production-wise, was really good. This was obviously in, the late 2010s. So not too bad. In terms of NHL games, he's only played about 150 games, has 40 points. So not a guy you really expect to produce all that much offensively and chip in, but he definitely has the capabilities to do so. But I don't know. I know a few Flyers fans, they aren't too high on this guy. They don't think he'll ever be, a true top 4 defenseman, and that's completely fair. Do we really need to go out and acquire a guy like that? I'm not too sure. I mean, Byram, Keandre Miller, they're more, top 4 guys that maybe the Flames would want, but of course they would be very expensive. And I mean, at this point, you're not going to trade for either of them. It just made sense where they were at in terms of contract situations and I guess team situations in the offseason and even last year's trade deadline. But I'm not too sure. And again, you can feel free to let me know in the comments what you think of this. I'm a little bit, I don't know. I don't think the Flames need to make that kind of trade right now. I think it's more so the Flames need to offload than add. But again, we will, of course, have to see. Now let's get into tonight's game as the Flames, they're on a 4-game losing streak. Will it be bumped to 5, or will the Flames finally get their second win of the year? We'll find out on Hockey Night in Canada. This one goes at 8 p.m. Mountain Time. The Flames are in Vegas to face a team they've already played, actually, this year. And it should be, obviously, a very, very interesting one. If we get into the lines, this is what's the most interesting to me. If we get into the lines from yesterday's practice, this is what they looked like. So Huberdeau back, of course, with Kadri and Farabee on that first line. Coronato, Frosty, Sharky, Honzik remaining with Backlund and Coleman, Lomberg, Zary, Klapka is that fourth, Gridden, and Kirkland. Now, Gridden was still an extra in practice for the Flames yesterday, and you're thinking, oh, great, maybe he'll stick with the team. The D pairings, Weegar, Hanley, Andersson, Ball, Perek and Bean, of course, with Pahal and Miramanov. But as we predicted in yesterday's video, and I think a lot of us saw coming, was that the Flames have actually assigned Matvei Gridden to the Wranglers as Jonathan Huberdeau was activated from the IR. Now, from Ryan Park's perspective here, this is what he says. He says, if choice was Gridden or Honzek to the AHL, the fact that Honzek has shown quite well in a checking role with Backlund and Coleman likely helped his case. Gridden will get plenty of top 6 time in the AHL and showed really well in his NHL audition. And it's true. It's kind of like you think back a couple seasons ago when the Flames sent, it was Coronato and was it maybe Zary or someone else? It was someone young, but either way, they sent them down towards the end of the season to the AHL just so they could get bigger minutes when they really weren't going to be playing all that much. It's the same thing here with Gridden. He didn't play in the last game. The Flames are getting healthy again. Why not put him in a place where he can truly develop? I totally get it. Am I slightly disappointed that he's the one who went down? Yes, he was actually very exciting to watch. It made the Flames more watchable. I'm not saying Huberdeau doesn't do that, but still, it made sense. It was quite predictable, but still I think Flames fans wish he was playing with the big club, but at least we still get to see Perek. Hopefully he'll be in today. I know that was yesterday's lines. Maybe they'll be today's lines. We won't know till a little bit later, but either way, it was, a lot of us saw it coming. Still a little disappointed, but it does make sense overall, and you need to look at the positives. At least he'll develop with the Wranglers in a higher role for sure. Now let's get into the comment of the day to wrap up this video, as we love to do here on the channel. It comes from yesterday's video, of course, and this was a great one here from one of those years. He said, before you got to our goals per game, which is dead last in the league, I was already thinking this team could break the 82 game season record. And we're kind of on pace to do that, it almost seems like. He says, I hope Hubie helps. I guess Tank. This person's on Team Tank, which I think a lot of Flames fans are jumping on board there. I know for a lot of Flames fans, you're always going to want to cheer for your team to win, and that's totally valid. Any opinion-based thing when it comes to, you want the Flames to win or to tank, there's no right or wrong answer, of course. It's just sometimes you do understand Team Tank wanting to, hopefully just truly rebuild so that we can be better later instead of being stuck in the mushy middle. But it's always fun to cheer on your team and hopefully watch them win night in and night out. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe to what you saw here today and have a wonderful rest of your day.